Welcome back to Uprising. I'm Sonali Kolhatkar. We open our show this morning with coverage of the ongoing protests in Baltimore, Maryland. And as this show is being recorded and going live, the news has just broken that Maryland State Attorney Marilyn Mosby has just decided to file criminal charges against several of the police officers involved in the arrest of Freddie Gray, the 25-year-old African-American man who died after slipping into a coma days after his arrest. It is not yet clear exactly how many of the officers are facing charges, but Mosby did say that her office would conduct a thorough and an independent investigation. She announced a range of charges against several police officers, ranging from second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter to assault and misconduct in office, and warrants have been issued for their arrest. While she announced those charges, she did note her own ties to the police community. The 35-year-old state attorney, who has only been in office for 4 months, both her mother and her father have been part of the law enforcement community. Meanwhile, a witness named Kevin Moore, who saw the arrest of Freddie Gray and then filmed part of it, has spoken out yesterday. Speaking to news media, he described Gray being, quote, folded like he was a crab or a piece of origami during the arrest. Moore, who was a friend of Gray's, was just arrested by Baltimore police last night at gunpoint. Major solidarity demonstrations are slated to take place around the country and in Baltimore today, extending the traditional May Day labor actions to protests against police brutality of black and brown people. A 10 p.m. curfew will remain in effect through Sunday. My guest is Dayvon Love. He's the director of Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle based in Baltimore, Maryland. He's been very active on the ground in the demonstrations. Welcome to Uprising, Dayvon.
Thank you for having me.
Well, as we have begun this program, this breaking news has just come about. I'm not sure how much you've heard of it, but I'd love to get your immediate response to this decision to file criminal charges against several of the police officers.
I think it's a great step forward. It's rare that law enforcement officials get indicted for this kind of a thing. And so for this to happen, I think there are a lot of people in Baltimore that are happy that the state's attorney decided to move forward and prosecute the officers involved in the death of Freddie Gray.
Yesterday, Reuters reported that there was a preliminary report of the injury sustained by Freddie Gray that led to his death. And at that point, there was no evidence, they said in their report, that there was misconduct during the arrest. The medical examiner found, quote, Gray's catastrophic injury was caused when he was slammed into the back of the police transport van, apparently broke his neck there. And police also said that Gray sustained a head injury that matches a bolt in the back of the police van. How do you respond? It sounds as though police are desperately trying to suggest that rather than him being hurt by police during the arrest, that he injured himself inside the police van while handcuffed and in leg irons. But the videos that we've seen of him being dragged into the van shows that he was injured. He was screaming in pain.
Yeah, I mean, what you'll find is that, if you watch the video, I mean, to me and a lot of people here, it seems obvious what happened. But law enforcement officials are used to being able to twist the facts because of the level of protections that they're often given. In order to avoid being prosecuted. And so there are laws in place here in Maryland. There's the Maryland Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights that provides a series of protections that make it difficult to prosecute law enforcement officers and get the information necessary to do so. So it's actually a tremendous feat for the state's attorney to be able to put together a credible case for indicting the officers.